Hey guys, and welcome to episode 1 of what I've decided to call a podcast. Anyone with a microphone could literally have a podcast. When you think of podcasts, you usually think of a big room, maybe a large table with fancy microphones. Professional. You don't really think of guys that's alone in bedroom talking into phone. But podcast just has a better ring to it than what I just said. So let's just go with that premise because, what these really are will be conversations. And unlike my reaction videos, I won't be heavily editing these. So I may stutter and stumble, I may ramble. But certain things in life just shouldn't be perfect, and we shouldn't try to make them be perfect. We should just let them be what they are. So if I ramble, and I'm just going to let it, flow free. So, in this first episode, I will take you through my YouTube. Going forward, I will probably tell you stories about my life and certain, situations, what it was like growing up with being surrounded by alcoholism, domestic violence, what it was like being put into foster care, living in foster care, living in a children's home, my experiences in LGBT. And I could literally just do random subjects, but initially that's kind of what I'll be aiming to talk about. Because one of the things when I started YouTube, I always wanted to feel like I had a voice. It didn't matter if anyone actually listened, but I just wanted to feel like I had a voice. So anyway, let's just cut through all that and let's just get to the beginning, I guess, and just get this started. So I started YouTube, I guess, about 9 months ago or so. I was grieving the loss of my older brother. He suffered from, he was an alcoholic, basically. And eventually his body just gave up on him and he passed away in 2020. So I was still grieving the loss of that. Because of COVID, we weren't able to go to the cremation and, things. And it also meant I couldn't have counselling or anything. I myself was in a very dark place at that point as well. Depression. And I guess just feeling like I didn't want to be here anymore, if I'm being honest. Not that I would have actually acted on it or done anything, but that's the mindset I was in. So with that and losing my brother, on one hand, it was the brother, so it was, I might as well do it because life's too short. And with my mental illness and my depression, I felt, well, you don't want to be here anymore anyway, so who cares? Just go for it. So that was the first hurdle of actually, like, okay, am I actually going to do this? Am I actually going to do YouTube after wanting to do it so long but being so afraid? Then came the next part of it, as in, well, yeah, you want to do it, but I mean, you're not exactly talented. You don't have a talent for anything. You're not very interesting. Nobody's probably going to watch. And then I would tell myself, you know what, who cares if nobody watches? The reason why you're doing it is because you want to do it. And it's for fun. And it's like a new hobby. And I think that's why you should start out on YouTube. You shouldn't start out YouTube with dreams of being famous or trying to make money and becoming rich, because unless you're very lucky or very talented, you probably won't be very successful. You should always keep it in your mind that that's all it's ever going to be, a hobby, and if anything else great happens from it, well, it's just a bonus, isn't it? So when I first started out, I guess it was a point in my life where something just had to give, something just had to change. And I also knew that I wanted to start a diet. Through my life, I've suffered from anorexia and binge eating. I've dabbled with bulimia. But when I started YouTube, I was in the binge eating stage. And I wanted to start a diet. So I came across Cole Robinson and the snake diet. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically where you mix like no salt and Himalayan pink salt to water. And you sip on that through the day. And I was losing like 2 pounds a day. So I decided to film myself. I would film myself talking and giving updates for 3 days. And I would edit together and I would upload it. And I had about, I think, 9 of those videos. I even remember when I first started it, I was so insecure that I knew I wanted to get a scene shot where I felt like I looked my worst. So I was in my dressing gown, my hair hadn't been cut in a while, and it hadn't been dyed in a while. And I didn't even style it, I basically just looked like I got up out of bed. But I knew I wanted to have that scene because I thought, you know what, if you go on camera and you show yourself at your most raw, and where you look the worst, then you can only go up from there. And I remember thinking that at the time. So I would do my little snake diet videos. I also had 2 get to know me videos and ASMR. The 2 get to know me's and the ASMR are still on my channel, but I'll get to that. I had a taste test video. I had a get ready video, get ready with me. And I also had 2 episodes of what was, I guess, supposed to be like a podcast, but it was called What Grinds My Gears, which, yeah, I kind of stole that from Family Guy. But I always was going to change it to In Bed with Tyler, which is kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, like In Bed with Tyler, but also I'm actually in my bedroom. That's where I make my videos. But the first episode was about actresses that I felt should not have been the lead in certain movies. And then the second episode was all my experiences using dating apps and the people I met, relationships I started. And I told like a really awkward hookup story from one time in my past. It's kind of silly now. Were they the best videos ever made? No. But are any of my videos? No. But they were fun. I deleted them because I decided to go in a different direction with reactions. I always was going to do reactions, but you know, interspersed with my own personal content. But I found this like article that was supposed to be for new creators, and one of the tips in it was not to mix up your content too much. Personally, I always wanted a channel kind of like Forrest Gump, you know, a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. But this article said that not to do that because you'll turn people off because they won't know who you are making all this different content. And stupidly, I listened to them and I went and I deleted all my personal content. And I mean, yeah, they weren't the best quality, but I wish I had have kept them. I guess I could recreate them, but I guess my advice, if you're a YouTuber and you're listening to this, just do what you want to do and don't listen to all these silly articles and everything like I did. Luckily, I didn't have that many personal content videos before I started doing reactions, but I still wish I had kept those. As I said, the 2 get to know me's and the ASMR video, which is actually just a tongue-in-cheek silly ASMR video. It's like the last tissue on a roll. It's like supposed to be quirky and silly, but you know. But yeah, so I was always going to do reactions. I moved into reactions, but I think I ended up getting too comfortable in reactions. As I have done so many times in my life, I have hidden behind somebody else. And I guess by doing a reaction, I'm hiding behind the artists. Yes, you get to express yourself and your opinion, but unlike what I'm doing right now, you're not out there by yourself. You know, you can kind of hide behind the reaction in itself and you don't feel so exposed, I guess, as I guess I would be right now. And as I said also, I wanted to start YouTube because I always wanted to feel like I had a voice. Like, I spent so many years being self-conscious and ashamed of my voice because, you know, it is, you know, lighter for a man. And whenever I be in public and people hear me talk, it draws attention and people turn and stare, I guess, to see where the voice is coming from, and things like that didn't help. And so I would intentionally say things quieter or I would stay quiet. And I guess so many people would think I was a weirdo because if I was with someone in public and they met someone they knew, they would be talking maybe for 10 or 15 minutes, but I could just be standing there quiet and weird. So I think I came to be known as maybe a bit weird and quiet over the years because I just would never say anything. And I don't know, I wasted so. I mean, I had my moments, and I mean, you know, whenever I was with people I knew, like, of course I would talk and stuff. It was just certain situations where I would be quiet and not say anything, and I guess I was just the quiet weirdo in the background, you know. But I always felt like I wanted to have a voice, as I said, so by doing YouTube, I felt like I was finally having that voice, and it didn't matter to me that if nobody ever listened to it. I just wanted to feel like I had one. And when I started YouTube with the snake diet and my little personal content stuff, I think I had like 19 subscribers. I literally couldn't tell you if any of those people are still around because they subbed for the snake diet content, so I don't know if they've since unsubbed. They haven't recommented. I had one woman, I can't remember her name, and she was from the few little videos that I had done, she commented on them and she was very supportive. I just for the life of me can't remember. And there were a couple of other people. I didn't get many comments, but there were a couple, and I just want to say if you're listening or if you hear this by some chance, I just want to say thank you, because when I first started out, I still am insecure, but I was a lot more insecure back then. And you were like the first people to comment and show me support, and I really, really appreciate it. Oof, I'm actually starting to feel a bit emotional. So many times in my life, strangers have not been so nice to me, so when actual strangers on the internet reached out to me and were nice to me, it meant so much to me. That's why in my videos today, if I know I constantly repeat the same things over and over, and I'm like, I appreciate you, and I will always appreciate you. I say that because I mean it, because, as I said, a lot of people, strangers, have not been so nice, so to have strangers be actually nice to me, it's so appreciated, and it makes me so happy, and it keeps me doing what I'm doing, because it shows me that not everyone is horrible, and there are nice people in the world, and you can actually be yourself and do what you want to do and have people support you in that without tearing you down all the time, and that means a lot to me. So when I eventually started into doing my reactions, I kind of completely moved away from doing personal content. I did do one video carving my pumpkin with me, and that was fun, although stepping away from the safety of a reaction to being by myself again, I said that funny, I did feel kind of self-conscious, and I was a bit nervous stepping out on my own again like I did in the beginning, even though at that point I'd been on YouTube a few months. But anyway, whenever I started reactions, I think I did, was it 19 or 25? I don't know, no, that's a big jump, but I think I had about 25, I think I had about 19 subscribers when I was doing diet content. Then when I did my first reaction, I think it was Britney Spears, and then I moved into doing like Hocus Pocus. I think I went up to like 25 or so subscribers, and everything changed for me literally overnight. I was doing a reaction to Mariah Carey, I Want to Know What Love Is, and in that comment section, a Morissette Amon fan reached out to me and asked me to do a reaction to Morissette's version of I Want to Know What Love Is. And I guess I didn't have like a list of people that I wanted to react to, so I thought, oh, that's a good idea, doing like viewer requests. So I did a reaction to that, and whenever I posted it, I started racking up all these views. Like I think I had a few hundred views in no time, and literally overnight my channel gained over 300 subscribers just from that one video alone. So going from like 25 subs and jumping up to, I think it was 350 or something like that. I must admit it was very overwhelming. All my past videos had maybe got 1-2 comments here and there, but with this one Morissette video, I think it's the most commented video on my channel still, and the comments were coming in and coming in, and going from having quite a quiet channel, as I said, with not much activity, to suddenly having all this exposure. Like, I know it's still not a lot, but I mean, getting that many subscribers in one day and that many views and that many comments was very overwhelming, and to be honest, I couldn't really handle it at first. I think my anxiety took over. Now when I do Morissette and things like that, I expect comments and people reaching out to me, and I really enjoy it, but just that instant, like, instantness of it all, I guess, it was really hard to deal with back then. And I actually questioned if I wanted to go forward, because I was like, this is so overwhelming, and it's just a lot. But I'm so grateful for it, and as I've said before, I just want to thank Morissette fans, because you guys have been some of the nicest people on my YouTube journey so far. And I call it a YouTube journey because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to do. You never know who you're going to talk to. You never know what direction you're going to go in. And yeah, that's why I even put it on my banner, like, subscribe and become part of the journey, because for me, that's what YouTube is my journey. And even in my community tab, I document certain things that happen on my channel, even if they're silly, like my first takedown order, to recently where I actually was able to apply to become a YouTube partner, which I honestly thought I would not be accepted for that, because a lot of my content is copyright claimed. But I applied, they let me in, and I was like shocked. But even though I am, you know, a YouTube partner now and I can put ads in my videos, I'm not going to suddenly start pumping out content like a video a day or tons of videos, tons of content to try to bank on it. Because, as I said from the beginning, YouTube for me is a hobby. It will always be a hobby. I don't want to turn it into a job. I don't think I could deal with the stress of constantly putting out content to try to earn a living. I just don't think I could handle that. So I may put ads in some things, but I will never make anything but a hobby. I've been kind of lucky so far on my YouTube journey. As I said at first, I was really preparing myself for, hate comments because, I'm not much to look at. And as I said, because of the way I sound when I speak and things like that, I thought I would be a ripe target for bullying and I was expecting all these hate comments to come in. So far on my channel, I think they're not even hate comments. I think I've had literally 3 comments that maybe weren't so nice, in my opinion. The first one came, I think, when I first started doing Morissette, and I guess a Morissette fan reached out and said that I was clickbaiting Pinoy. Basically, they were trying to accuse me of clickbaiting using a Filipino artist to get attention on my channel. But they actually didn't know the backstory at that point that, a Morissette fan actually asked me to react to her, and then I gained all these subscribers from that. And I know a lot of my subscribers are Morissette fans, so I'm going to try and cater, one, to what I love, but also to them as well. Then the second not so nice one, I did a Britney Spears and Elton John closer reaction. And this was back in a time when I just started doing reactions and I would turn the audio of the song I was reacting to up louder than my actual voice. And it would kind of drown me out. And people were leaving me really positive comments, but this one guy was like, your reactions are rubbish, they're shit. You can't even hear what you're saying. And looking back on it, yeah, I do agree with him. I turned the audio up because I just was convinced that people would want to hear the music and they wouldn't really want to hear what I had to say anyway. And again, I was new and I don't know, that's just the way I did it. And I could never really figure out how to do screen record. Like a lot of reaction people do screen recording and I tried it, but it just won't work for me with the equipment that I have. I have a phone and I have a tablet, things like a PC and like laptops and stuff. I've always been really intimidated by bigger devices like that. My laptop is pretty much done, and as you know, if you read my community post, I was saving up for a PC because I want to start doing live streams and live reactions and things like that. Kind of move my YouTube into a different stage. But then unfortunately my cat needed an operation, so I had to end up using the money I had saved for the PC for her vet bills, which I don't regret because, she will always come first over something like a PC that, besides doing live streams on YouTube, I literally wouldn't use it because, as I said, I just don't like big devices. But I do want to move my YouTube, I guess, to the next level at some point. So yeah, I didn't do screen record. So the guy that said the reaction was rubbish and it was shit, looking back, yeah, you're right. You were right. And then the final comment was a comment that came in recently, and it wasn't really a hate comment. Again, it was just something that I personally didn't agree with. I did a reaction to Katrina Velarde. She was doing covers of Whitney Houston. And some of the songs I just wasn't familiar with. I recognized the choruses, but just because I listen to music and I commentate on music, it doesn't mean I know every song. But their comment was something like, because I'm LGBT and because Whitney was a gay icon, they equated that to me that I should know every Whitney song that there ever was. And to me, that was kind of like subtle homophobia. You may not agree, you might think I'm reaching, but to me, that's what it felt like. So I didn't agree with that comment. Just because someone is LGBT does not mean they should know every Whitney song. And I literally pinned in the comments that I'm not a vocal coach. I'm not a professional. I know a little from videos I've watched, from some things that I've read, and from taking singing lessons myself. Not that I can sing, but as I always say, just because you can't sing doesn't mean you can't sing. And you should do that too. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't sing, because if it's something you enjoy, you should do it for yourself. You should always do things you enjoy, even if you're not necessarily that good at it. And I, myself, I'm not good at it. I just like to do it. So I know a little, and anytime I give my reactions on vocals, I just try to explain it in a way that makes sense to me from the tiny bit of knowledge that I do know. But again, I'm not a vocal coach. But yeah, I guess those comments weren't really that rude. I mean, they were honest, and well, I mean, the part where it said I was clickbaiting Pinoy, basically using more, but anyway, they didn't know that story. So yeah, and because there's been so few hate comments or not so nice ones, I think that's why I can remember them, because there literally haven't been that many. And again, people are entitled to their opinion. You might not agree, I might not agree, but they are entitled to that opinion. And as well, I guess, the last little part, I guess, to wrap this up, as I said, I haven't been on YouTube that long, so it's not like a long backstory. I have also fallen into the trap of YouTube myself. I would be recommended other small channels that would do reactions. This one guy, I don't even know the channel username, and even if I did, I wouldn't say it because, but YouTube kept recommending me his channel. So I thought one day, you know what, let me just check out this channel. And it's like an older man, and he was doing music reactions just like me. But he had been on YouTube for less than the time I had, less than half the time I had. And he had already racked up double the subscribers, and he was getting more views, and he wasn't really doing anything that more, much extraordinary than what I myself was doing. It's not like he was more exciting, it's not like he was doing anything unique. And it's not that I was jealous of him, but it's when my insecurities first kicked in, of thinking, this guy, he's not, he's not a lot more interesting than I am, and I don't understand why he has double the subs I have, and he gets way more views than I do, and we're doing the same thing. And I started thinking, well, obviously I'm the problem. Maybe people don't want to subscribe to me because they see something they don't like, or maybe I'm not interesting enough, maybe I'm not exciting enough, maybe I'm doing it all wrong, and people just aren't taking to me. And yeah, I did start feeling insecure about it, but I was happy for the guy, of course. His channel was doing quite well, and anyone who does well on YouTube, I wish them luck. It was just more or less my own insecurity started, playing a role in it, and, thinking bad things about myself and just putting myself down. As time's gone on, I've just learned to be appreciative for what I do have, for the amount of subscribers that I have, the fact that anybody wants to watch, and the fact that I'm still loving this and doing this as a hobby, and if anyone else tunes in, it's like a bonus. Again, I know I'm not perfect at it. I still have a long way to go to make my videos as good as some people on YouTube. I just do things my own way, and there's always going to be comments now and again of people saying, do it this way and do it that way, but I've kind of learned on YouTube already that no matter what way you make a video, someone is always going to want it a different way. So I have learned just to, do things my way, and I think that's what's best, because it's what makes me happy, and in the end, that is why I do YouTube, because, I want to do something for myself. So I guess that's my quick little episode for today, my story of YouTube and my journey so far. I guess going forward, I don't know what the channel will become. I mean, I cannot predict that. But I do know going forward, I will be saving up again for a PC. As I said, even though this is a hobby, I still would love to take my YouTube channel to the next level, to make it more polished, more professional, to be able to do live streams and live reactions, and to diversify into other types of reactions and content. And even this little podcast now, this is just me sitting here in my room by myself, talking into my phone. And who knows, in future, maybe I will have a PC, I will have a proper microphone, I will be able to add sound effects and music and make it a lot more professional. This is like really, really amateur. But everywhere, you have to start out somewhere. Everything starts out somewhere and it evolves over time. So who knows? This may be a one and done. I may do more. I mean, of course, I plan to do more, but you just don't know. Who knows where this little podcast thing will take me. But all I do know so far is that I wanted to set out and I wanted to feel like I had a voice. And I never envisioned that through just talking into my phone, actually, or, under the guise of a podcast. But if that's the direction it goes in, I guess it's just the way it was meant to be. Some things are just meant to be. But if you've made it this far, I've probably rambled and droned and probably went off into a tangent. I can't even remember half of what I said. I just went into a little world of my own and just spoke from the heart. And that's what my podcasts or conversations, and yes, I am doing air quotes, conversations in the future will be just me speaking from the heart and telling you how I feel in the way that I feel. And if anyone listens, then great. But if they don't, again, I'm still using my voice for something, right? So I guess I will just wrap up that little podcast episode for today. And I hope to see you again in the second episode of the podcast, which hopefully will be coming very soon. And it will probably be a lot more interesting than this. This is kind of just a little, dip the toe in the water kind of moment. Kind of test things out and see if I enjoy it, just see what happens, I guess. But anyway, I hope to see you in episode 2. And as I always say, I will see you then.